Well, when you think about meeting the generations and how you can actually connect from one generation to another, I think at the core of it when you're working with young adults is dialogue. And so I'm here today with Joanna la Fleur. Joanna, you're a 30-year-old director of communication at C4 Church I know very well. In fact, I spoke there recently.
That's true.
It was great.
Yeah,
it was
thanks
great.
for coming.
It was a lot of fun, man. You have a great team, a great church, a great ministry there. So I got to ask you, because dialogue is core to this, just tell me, what's one thing you worry about the most right now?
Well, you know, besides the housing market in Toronto and how I'm ever going to get into it, if you're from the Toronto area, you know how tough it is out there.
It's bananas.
Yeah, but I mean, the larger question in life for me is always like, will this matter? Like, will what I'm doing matter 10 years, 20 years, like 100 years from now, will the thing I'm about actually matter? That's the thing that keeps me up at night.
Where did that question come from? Has that been something like that's been with you since you were a kid, or like?
I think it's it's the Christian viewpoint, right? We have a few decades on earth, and that's it. So it's what are we doing now that has any ripple effect? And all of it does, but like a positive ripple effect past us. Most of the problems we have, most of the worries, like the housing market, in the next 100 years, none of that in my life will matter. And so what are the things that I worry about making sure my life or my energy, my focus is on? The things that that are going to last longer than me. Yeah.
Your turn.
So I know you're a high capacity leader guy. So I think a question that I'm always curious about with people like you is, what's your morning routine look like?
Oh, my morning routine. Yeah. Usually starts around 5 a.m., sometimes 4:30. I know, that's so depressing,
it's already,
isn't it?
you've lost me.
Yeah. So this morning it was 4:45.
Okay.
And here I was in Toronto doing the show, but normally at home I would get up, I have my Bible on my phone, I'll make a cup of tea first. That's the most important.
Not coffee?
No, I'm a tea guy. Tea guy. Read the Bible. I just do the Bible in 1 year. So I'm reading through it and just go through the daily readings. I'll pray. And then usually my best hours are the first hours of the day. And so I'll work on probably a creative project. Right now I'm working on a sermon series. I spent an hour before I got to the studio today working on our next series at our church. Sometimes it'll be a blog post, sometimes it'll be a book or a resource I'm developing, or a big project that I've got to solve. So that's sort of my morning routine. I tend not to always exercise in the morning. I'll do that in the middle of the day when I start to drag, or toward the end of the day. And my favorite form of exercise is biking,
I was going to say, I know you're a cyclist. You post about it on social media.
I do. Well, just to put an effort in. At least I try.
Well, and you're Dutch, so Dutch people
they
want to cycle.
More bikes than people in Holland.
I know.
Did you know that?
It's awesome.
So that's my morning routine, and usually I have breakfast about 2 to 3, maybe 4 hours after I get up.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep. Have done a few morning rides when I'm trying to lose weight, and like you then do a ride before you eat.
Okay.
It's supposed to help. That's my morning routine. Okay, question for you.
Yeah.
What's one thing that someone from my generation or older, what is one thing you wish they knew about you and your generation?
Yeah, I always think we're gonna be okay.
we should relax.
Like I was just speaking at a church recently, and a sweet old lady comes up to me, at least 2 years older than you.
Yeah, at least a sweet old lady. Thank you.
No, she was probably in her 80s, and she said, you are giving me hope for the next generation, and I'm like, there are more of me out there. It's not just me. There are many people in the church who are under the age of 30 or 40 who have a great passion for the church, for God, for the world, and are doing things about it. And don't just look at the news for your information about it.
No, that's a really good point. Yeah. Why do you think it is that so many older people worry about young people?
Well, isn't that every job's generation to worry about the one after? I don't know.
Maybe it's because we were young people.
I look at the kids these days, and they're Snapchatting, and I don't know what's going on anymore. But
really?
No,
are you on Snap or not?
Absolutely, I'm on Snap. I mean, it's partly because of my role in my church. I have to do that kind of stuff.
I have to
learn it, and I have to ask my 20-year-old interns to help me understand it. So you age very quickly in the world of technology.
You do. Do you find that?
Yeah.
Like, do you find that the kids who are in high school today are very different than you were when you were in high school?
In some ways, yeah. I mean, some of the stuff they want is the same.
Facebook wasn't a big thing, man. If you're 30.
But a lot of people who are, Facebook came out when I was in university, and so I'm so glad it wasn't out when I was a preteen.
Okay, your turn.
Oh, another question. So why does leadership matter to you so much?
Oh, well.
You write about it, you speak about it. Why does it matter to you so much?
It matters a lot to me. You know, I'll just quote John Maxwell, why not, when you're talking about leadership, that everything rises and falls on leadership. I think I'm passionate about the future of the church. God called me into ministry about 25 years ago. And, you know, I just think a lot of the problems facing the church today and organizations today, Christian organizations, are leadership issues. They're not faith issues. They're not prayer issues. Like people pray, people believe, you know, in the historic God of the Bible, in Jesus. There are issues, obviously, that are theological, but I think there's a lot of very well-meaning people, and it's a leadership thing. They don't know how to grow an organization. They don't know how to scale it. It's just challenging. So that's why it matters. I love the church, and as a result, and I love the mission we're on. So leadership matters. That's why it does. Okay, what's your biggest question about God, and who are you asking about it?
My biggest question about God today is probably to do with the political climate of the world as I watch the news and what is going on with it. And so I want to know how to respond. God, what do I do when I'm seeing these issues that are so much bigger than me, particularly to do with racial relations and, you know, terrorist issues, and I have a real heart for Europe, and I'm seeing lots of terrorism happen there. And how do we respond? What can we as a church do about that? So a lot of my questions I ask on social media. I love to poll the audience and see on Facebook or Twitter or wherever, see what people will say if I ask these kind of questions. I think you can learn a lot from the masses' combined knowledge.
Yeah, and so who are you asking? And the answer is everybody.
Everybody, yeah.
That's a great answer to that.
Whoever will listen, anyways.
Well, Joanna, this has been a great time together. Thanks so much for spending some time with us today.
Oh, thanks.
Really, really appreciate it.